Andy joins us from Baltimore on the Harbor One hotline. Hello, Rob.
Two things. Number one, I'm walking down the street of Baltimore, and some random guy comes up to me and just yells McFarland in my face and runs away. And because they're feeling good about themselves, and that's what you do when you feel good about yourself, your baseball team. And nobody shoves a phone in the face of Chris Sale better than me. You're welcome for that sound.
Well, as we do here, a bit of a lengthy discussion earlier about Chris Sale and what the issue is, and WEEI is suggesting it's all mental. Your opinion on that, mental or physical or both?
I think it's a combination of a bunch of different things, and it doesn't really matter because you just have to be better. After the game last night, they were clearly sort of hinting, or not even hinting, but they were saying that they thought he was tipping his pitches. Okay, that's fine. The Orioles have hit him around. They hit him around in his only bad start in spring training. They hit him around the first time, and they hit him around in that inning yesterday. But that doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference anymore. And you hate to say it because he's such a good quote. And 3 or 4 years ago, when he got out in front of everybody and dropped F-bombs and said things like he just said, you're like, there you go. That guy gets it. That guy is accountable. That's what we want in our Boston athletes. But at this point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's mental, physical, whatever it is. You need results. You're, I think, 28 and 56 in the last 2 years against American League East teams. And so a big part of getting that right is with Chris Sale.
Oh, Bradfo, listen here, youngin'. If you're looking for a place that plays some go-go and splash music, I'll tell you where to go and be more. Any chance?
Where? Tell them where.
Go to Southside Baltimore.
Okay.
Go down there.
Listen, here's a hint for you, Wiggy. I'm not going anywhere in Baltimore. I'm going from my car to the park, back to my car.
Just keep playing.
It is a dicey place these days.
Well, as long as you're playing that go-go, you'll be fine. They'll think you're from B-more.
I'm sure.
Is there any chance, and I've been bringing this up for a while, is there any chance that you see Chris Sale, maybe they move him to the bullpen and some type of reliever situation?
I would. You never say never, but I don't think so. I think that they've sort of cast their lot in life with not only Chris Sale, but you allocated money to the guy pitching tonight in Kluber. The problem is that you have potential. You have a bunch of maybes, and we saw that with the last Chris Sale start. And that's what they're hanging their hat on. But the problem is that why you have a bunch of maybes, why you have the second worst ERA of any starting staff, and that's only behind the worst team in the history of baseball, the Oakland A's, that you don't have certainty. You don't have the guys. You don't have the guys that you say, that's the guy. Like we talk about opening day, we still don't know who would be the opening day starter. Like right now. So and that's the problem. So to answer your question, I think that he's in the rotation. They're going to ride or die with him for a long, long time here.
But I asked this earlier, how do you go into this season with the expectation that he is your ace?
Well, again, I heard you said Sam Kennedy said in his show that he's the ace. Yeah. But I said this when we were having the opening day argument. I'm like, well, we didn't know. He had a good spring training, but we couldn't say he was the ace. We couldn't say anyone was the ace. And that's the problem. I keep, every time Wade Miley pitches, I surface the same picture, which is him wearing the T-shirt saying he's the ace, and from 2015. And that's what this felt like, where you had John Lester leaving, and all of a sudden Masterson, Kelly, Buchholz, Porcello, and Miley, everyone has the potential. You can make an argument for everybody, and nobody stepped up. And this is how this sort of feels right now. I'm not saying it can't work. I mean, Whitlock can step up. Bayo down the road when he comes back up. Pavetta's been okay. Who knows? I mean, maybe they keep in the starting rotation. There's potential there, but as we sit here right now, you have a bunch of Who's the Aces T-shirts all over again.
Rob, the confusing thing is it feels like a lot of the guys in the front office and even Alex Cora to some extent are almost making excuses for him over and over again, whether it was him not going out there on opening day, or I know Alex Cora last night basically was saying, well, you got to give credit to the Orioles. It just seems like everybody's making an excuse for a guy that may not have it anymore, and that's why we go to the mental aspect of his game, because they're trying to give positive reinforcement. And you see the frustration in the dugout, and I just don't see that helping in any way.
Well, first of all, it's a good point by you, Courtney. Oh, the dugout thing. I mean, come on, don't do that. Like you have bad hands, you have bad arms, you just don't want to risk it. I understand you're upset, but the one thing it did surface was the video of David Ortiz crushing that phone. I can watch that all day long. Oh my goodness! The best part about that is Dustin Pedroia diving for cover next to him. But the thing is, Courtney, is that yeah, they're making excuses because they have a glimmer of hope to make excuses. Like they can say, well, we think he's tipping his pitches against the Orioles because the Orioles are the team knocking him around and 3 times already this year since he's come back. And they can also hang their hat on the fact that last time out he was really good. He was like the old Chris Sale. That's all well and good. It's a results, as he said, it's a results business. It's not a try-hard business, and it's not an excuse business, and they have to figure this out in a hurry.
Has there ever been a bigger fraud on the Red Sox than Chris Sale's fake tough guy nonsense? I mean, banging a TV screen in Worcester, banging the Gatorade yesterday after the game. There is no can or do. There's only done. Whatever stupid, little, haiku he wrote for the post-game press conference. I mean, at what point do we just start mocking him on a daily basis?
Well, I mean, I'll disagree with you in the sense of, like, again, 3 or 4 years ago when he stood up there, he didn't have a whole lot of these, right? And this is what we say every time a guy comes to Boston. Just be accountable. You can buy yourself a lot of time if you're accountable. Unfortunately, Chris Sale, like, the accountability card has sort of run out. So when he does this now, it comes off as like the haiku, like you said, the haiku jokes or whatever. Like, that's how it comes off of. Enough is enough. This is a canned thing. I don't think it's a canned thing. I just say, like, well, it just, you're better off just not saying anything. And I know he can't. He's expected to stand there and answer the questions, which he does. But I don't think it's I think this is just who he is, and it just comes off 180 degrees from how we viewed it 3 or 4 years ago because he has been bad.
And who he is a guy that was intimidated by a jersey to the point he had to cut it up. I mean, this is the guy that fractured a bone during a lockout.
How do you get intimidated by a jersey?
I don't know. Ask him. He's the one who cut it up and wouldn't go on the field with it.
Try overeating a little bit in Florida and then putting a white T-shirt on, and you'll understand it. Yes, Courtney.
Well, Rob, Greg's tried to be optimistic about a bunch of different topics this morning, so I'll ask you because ESPN released 4 reasons the Red Sox haven't gone off the rails yet. So I want you to give us 4 reasons why we shouldn't be out on this Red Sox team quite yet.
This is like the caller saying, "I like you personally, but ...
Devers, baby,
yeah. Okay, so it comes back to my slogan for 2023. 2023 Red Sox : maybe. I mean, this is where we're at. This is where we're at still. It's not like there isn't potential. We saw this on Sunday. When Sunday happened, we're like, oh my goodness, Yoshida. Look, this is the guy that we've been waiting for. And look at the bullpen, Kenley Jansen and Josh Winkowski and all these guys. The potential of starting rotation. And you have Trevor Story coming back just in time and maybe in July and all of that. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Like, so I could go down the list more than 4 of saying, well, this is how it can work. But the problem is even like something like Yu Chang going out of the lineup now hurts them. Like, all of a sudden they found a guy who could play shortstop and they could move Kike Hernandez somewhere else, and now that's out the window. So they're so thin everywhere, and there's so much uncertainty everywhere. Meanwhile, you have teams like the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, the Yankees, who there is a whole lot more certainty on those teams, and that's the problem.
Curtis, are you still on Mac Island?
I am. I love Mac Island.
Okay. Imagine the reaction if Mac Jones post-game acted like Chris Sale has acted.
Oh,
like
my God.
He does it in game.
No,
so
one time he waved the dope off
okay.
who had no idea how to
Boomer
call
would
the
demand you
offense.
be deported.
Yes.
But, Rob, I have a very important question that has nothing to do with baseball. I was walking in the hallway as you were talking to Jackson, and all I heard from Jackson's end was, hold on a second. He looked out the window of the control room, which is windowless, came back to the phone and said, yeah, it's sunny. What was the conversation that led to that?
I said, Jackson, look out the window and see if you find anybody else stealing sweatshirts out there in the parking lot. No, I mean,
It was perplexing.
All right, Rob.
I'm sorry that I asked Curtis. I'm sorry I asked someone else about the weather. I know that's your
That's
thing.
Mike's side of the street, please.
That is
My
his purview.
apologies.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, we will talk to you again next week, and hopefully things will look a little bit better.
All right, see y'all.
enjoy B more.
That is Rob Bradford, and baseball is not boring, is the podcast.